Hey everybody, and welcome back to Dudes Brunch, your late night morning talk show. I'm your host, Taylor Olmstead. With me this week to talk about some more spicy memes, it's Tyler Reed. Tyler, what'd you have for brunch today? I hate you.
See, I've learned. You always gotta have that silence just a little bit before you actually say anything, because you never know what Sean's gonna pull out of his apparently infinite bag of sound objects. So.
This one's a kitty paw with the trigger on it.
Hell yeah! Why? Does that amuse the cat? Does the cat actually like that toy?
Oh no, but it would make for some. If Vine still existed, it would probably make for some awesome vines of a black cat paw petting a black cat.
Wait, do you have one of those attachments where you get to lick your cat?
Oh no, I don't have that. I have a beard though, which works equally as well.
They might as well be the same thing, right? Anyway, back on track. Hey everybody, I had a inconsequential brunch today, so I'll talk about yesterday where we played D&D again. And so we made the exact same thing: a big old sausage casserole and a menagerie of donuts from Kroger.
I mean, they're better than Walmart donuts, but they're not better than donut shop donuts.
Right. It's a pretty steep cliff. Like,
have you guys seen the episode of King of the Hill where Lucky breaks into the corn chip factory and he's telling Bobby? They have this whole big episode where Tom Petty, who plays Lucky, is telling Bobby that, like, you haven't tasted anything until you've tasted a corn chip straight off the line. So he, like, fakes an injury trying to get over a fence into a corn chip factory. And then he's like, I'm going to sue. How he gets out of the lawsuit is they give Bobby a corn chip fresh off of the line. And that's how they end the episode. Look it up. Krispy Kreme. That's the donut equivalent of that.
On that very convoluted note, Sean Evans, did you eat a single corn chip fresh off the line for brunch today?
Oh no, I had an egg and toast and bacon, leftover bacon.
So relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, hold on. You have watched King of the Hill before, right, Taylor?
Yes.
All right, well,
obviously. I just haven't seen that particular episode.
I just wanted to make sure.
Our guest this week, he's back after something like 50 episodes. It's Jacob Midkiff. Welcome back to the show, Jacob.
Thanks, I'm glad to be back.
What'd you have for brunch today?
Well, I was on set all day, so, I mean, for breakfast I just had a banana and a bagel, so pretty classic.
Well, so far you've had the most nutritious brunch here.
What kind of bagel was it, though?
It was cinnamon raisin with just regular cream cheese.
See,
Nice.
Now...
Good choice.
Now that is a brunch. If you're like, I had a plain, regular-ass bagel...
With butter, like,
with
no
nothing
thanks.
on it. You didn't even toast it. And a banana.
I don't think that's even food.
At that point, no.
It's just like wheat paste that you're putting into your body.
So we went from donuts to bagels. I think that's like a very apt train of thought, to be honest.
Yeah,
Just
we're
two
working
points.
our way towards health. And we're going to totally throw it out the window with my brunch because I was camping this weekend, and so my brunch was instant oatmeal, instant grits, and instant coffee. The fact that every part of my meal was instant is only one-upped by the fact that the only other thing I ate this morning was fruit snacks.
You must have been in a rush.
Yeah, I wanted to get down off the mountain and, like, get back into the city at a reasonable time. Starting your day off with instant oatmeal and fruit snacks, not a super sustainable way to hike 8 miles. Don't recommend it.
You should just put the fruit snacks in the oatmeal and just...
I thought about this
like those
after I
little
had already
dinosaur
made the
egg
oatmeal.
ones.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about an oatmeal enema or anything like that? I mean, leaves your mouth free to do whatever you want.
Can't say I've ever thought about that until just now, and I don't like thinking about it, so let's get into some follow-up. First item of follow-up. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I think we should all do a round of golf claps for Tom DeLonge on his UFO Researcher of the Year award.
What does that even mean?
No one knows.
No, someone must know. So can't you probe it out of him or something?
So I guess the story here is that some organization is, like, really interested in UFOs and wanted to honor Tom DeLonge for all of the hard work that he's done, meeting with CIA officials and writing comic books to educate people about aliens.
He met with the CIA.
He met with the CIA. There are emails to him that have been leaked in WikiLeaks dumps. There's all sorts of weird shit going on here, man.
What?
Yeah, DeLonge, who claims he's had contact with aliens, was one of the people whose emails with Hillary Clinton consigliere John Podesta leaked during last year's big WikiLeaks campaign hack. It looks like he's been meeting with government officials about the crucial matter of an alien autopsy cover-up, and now he's been recognized for his efforts.
It sounds like they really just wanted him to go away. They're like, you did it, Tom. You really helped us out.
Here you go, bro. Just
His response statement says, I'm paraphrasing, "There's a lot I can't say, but there's some that I can, and I'm so appreciative that I've been acknowledged for this stuff, but I'm not done. The WikiLeaks thing happened, and you guys saw that I'm into some serious shit, and I'm making really good progress."
Was that serious shit part, was that verbatim, or was that part?
That was verbatim, yeah. He's doing some serious shit. You guys,
that's so vague. I love it.
this is the lead singer of Blink-182. I think what I've learned from this is that aliens are punk now. Is that the takeaway? Is everybody on board with that?
I can see how they'd be punk.
Yeah, what are you talking about, Sean? I think emailing John Podesta about aliens is the most punk thing you can do.
No, I think finding John Podesta's email and emailing him about aliens might get you on a watch list. Yes, no, I do think that, but I don't don't get it confused about how that happened. Like,
wait, so Blink has a song called "Aliens Exist"?
Yes, written by Tom DeLonge.
I'm reading the lyrics now. What?
I'm telling you, he's been onto these aliens since like 1999. He's old school. Aliens are real.
What are you talking about? Old school aliens are real was like 1940s.
Listen, man, this podcast only has a memory of like 20 years, and if even that. Speaking of which, you found some great nostalgia follow-up this week too, didn't you?
Who, me?
Yeah, you. You posted about it in the Slack. The Nokia 3310.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. NPR stopped talking about that on Tuesday. So for those of you who aren't familiar with one of the goings on of our pre-podcast lives, the Nokia 3310 was a big part of Tyler Reed's life for a long time. He was an owner of one of the original brick phones. If I recall, he had that. You had a long, like, you went from like zero to hero in terms of phone pretty quickly, right? You had the first smartphone, quote unquote.
After, I think what happened was my brick phone got really wet from like just like sweaty pants from band camp, and it just stopped working. It just like melted,
and then
I skyrocketed, got a smartphone.
Then you got a smartphone, which is like the equivalent of finding out that your like beer can is a transformer. But still, like, fond memories of that phone. I always remember the brick.
I remember chucking that Nokia phone, and it hit like the corner of like my bed, which had like a metal like part on it, and it just like exploded into pieces. And I put it back together, and it still worked just fine.
So did they bring that back or something?
They're preparing to relaunch it, yeah.
Yeah, it's coming
back. And this time, it has Snake in full color.
Oh my god. Is it like modernized at all, or are they just bringing back the same old shit phone?
Yeah,
it has a color screen. Yeah. That's it.
Oh my god.
I think it comes in everything besides highway gray.
They have a yellow one. Like, you can have a good looking shitty phone. Like, that's amazing. Snake, yeah. Why are they advertising that?
That's what I mean.
That's
that
like the one thing is like it has Snake. Like, it's a Snake playing phone.
That's what's hilarious about it is like it comes like that was one of the selling features. It comes with Snake.
Yeah,
like literally on their website right now, it has a whole category saying Snake around.
Is there? Do you think that there's somebody who's gonna make like a device for this where you can like have a smartphone still, but connect it to your Nokia so you can like ironically use it in public, but still like check your email on your iPhone secretly?
You know, I think if you could probably just swap the SIM cards out.
Because this is like a great conversation starter with people. like you have to ice break with somebody, like a girl that you think is like cute or something, and you like roll up with your like Nokia and you just like set it down on the table right in front of her. It's probably gonna get her attention because it's like lipstick red and a Nokia 3310. And she's going to be like, oh, God, or like drop it like, oh, my God, this is so cool. Where'd you get this? Like instant conversation starter.
Well, you can drop it because these things will last through the fucking nuclear holocaust.
Yes. These and Twinkies.
I love
just
the
making drug dealing more fashionable. Like, here's a good burner phone.
I think that would be the worst burner phone ever because there's no way you can destroy it.
But you can play Snake on it while you're waiting. Like,
yeah. I love that one of the key features of the phone is battery standby for up to a month.
Yeah, that's the...
Like,
people are like, they were saying, you can leave it in your kitchen drawer in case anything happens. I'm like, wait, is survivalism back now too? Like, I'm not sure.
That's really what this is about. It's like, we know that the shit's gonna go down, right? I mean, we've seen how global politics have been over the last month and a half, so get your brick phones and power up your Walkman, because it's time to dial it on back to the 90s.
Does it have an aux port, though?
Ooh, I don't know. They might have been courageous enough to remove it.
They don't have, like, the Apple identity to be able to just drop a bomb like that and people accept it.
Yeah, it's got headphone jack for your tunes.
Does it say for your tunes?
Yeah. Down at the bottom.
FM radio and MP3 player for music. It says here, I'll read the details outside. Beautiful polished buttons and iconic shaped design. 2 megapixel camera with LED flash and simple snaps. Headphone jack for your tunes. 2.4-inch curved window with polarized layer for better readability in sunlight. Available as both single SIM and double SIM variants. Inside, 2G connectivity for your calling and texting. All new UI with nodes to the original. Sorry. God. Nodes.
You're so in.
Yeah, awesome battery life. Awesome battery life. That's awesome battery life with up to 22 hours of talk time. FM radio for an MP3 player for your music, and 16 megabytes of storage, plus an micro SD card slot to support up to 32 gigs.
Wait, the photos say it's Bluetooth. What? Is it Bluetooth, but then just like...
Yeah, it has...
It's like, hey, 2 megapixel camera, but you got Bluetooth, so send that shit to your PC.
Well, and you could probably get a little Bluetooth earbud because, it's 2005 and those are cool again.
Right.
Gotta get a jawbone.
Mm-hmm.
Connect it to your phone stereo.
Yeah.
Listen to your tunes.
Honestly, though, the only reason that I think this could be useful is if you were traveling internationally and you needed to get like a foreign SIM card. It looks like this thing's going to cost like 50 pounds.
Yeah, as I said, like $50.
Shit. For $50 for a burner phone that I'm just going to take on like an international trip, totally
let's just be real, though. If you're walking through an airport and you got an iPhone in one hand and a Nokia 3310 in another, you're probably not doing something good. Like, I'm going to be suspicious of you.
That's another way to get put on a list.
Plus, when I lived in Europe, you can get burner phones way cheaper than this and better. Like, you can get smartphones on standby for, like, significantly cheaper.
So then who is this for?
For people that don't want
Nostalgic.
to have a stupid data plan, like, they're like, I don't want to use the internet.
So it's for
on my
grandmas.
phone. I don't think, like, back the fuck up, okay? Listen, I realize we're basically 4 people. Well, 3. I don't know about Jake, but we're 3 of us are pretty technologically inclined. Not everyone is like us that needs to have Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. They just want to use a fucking phone for a phone. And I'm like, sometimes I'm almost there. Sometimes I'm like, I don't even need any of this shit. I have an iPad. I have a laptop. I have a computer. What do I need?
It's like the pushback from the Black Mirror episodes. Like, season 3 Black Mirror release, and everyone's like, dude, we gotta back up. Like, we gotta go back.
I mean, I'll probably go into the store and play with one of these, but there's no fucking way I'm gonna buy one.
Of course not, because it's useful to you.
Right.
To have all those functionalities.
Why would you pay money for it?
Because it's not a lot of money.
That's true.
It's not a lot of money if someone doesn't actually want to spend a lot of money on a phone.
But you still gotta pay for the plan, which is probably going to be the most expensive part of the phone.
Oh, of course it is.
To have nothing. Geez, you might as well just get 2 plastic cups and tie string between them if you want this thing.
I mean, that may be true.
It just that's exactly. Just put a snake in between your cups.
A literal snake.
Just yell into one end of the snake.
Well, how much do snake cost? Because if the snake is more, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Speaking of other things from our teenage years, have you guys seen this Magic iPod thing that came out this week? So it's at it's at the magicipod.com. I don't think we need to do like a full discussion of this, but basically the idea is it's a bunch of songs from 2007, and you click on one and you drag it on top of another one, and it creates a little mashup for you. It's a kind of fun little music game.
Well, they tell you which ones to drag into each other, then.
Well, yeah, not every song works with everything.
How unfortunate.
I feel like this is how DJs put like sets together. They're just like, all right, now how do I mix this shit together? Like, oh, hey there, Delilah. Yeah, we can mix that in with pop, lock, and drop it. Let's do it.
Yeah, so if you're feeling like, you know, you love Miss New Booty and Float On, and you really just want your two loves in life to go together, the Magic iPod is for you. It's truly magic.
Oh my god. I just put 99 Problems on Take Me Out by Franz Ferdinand. It's actually really good.
Yeah, they're all surprisingly good, to be honest.
Oh my god. Oh, it's so good.
That's what I mean. Like, it actually is pretty good.
This takes like all the work out of making.
I wish I could just... Is there a way to, like, randomly generate this to, like, turn it on in the background when you, like, just need to have something?
I don't think so, unfortunately. It looks like you have to do it manually every time.
Oh, it does look like they have a free download link for each combination. Yeah.
Yeah, so you could just download a bunch of them and, like, put them in a playlist.
That's really nice. They just have, like, the download button right there.
Yeah, and it says at the bottom he's not going to put ads on it. He's just requesting that people donate to the ACLU. Which I thought was kind of neat for just a little side project type thing.
That is awesome.
So yeah, for all you music nerds out there, definitely worth checking out.
Music make you lose control.
Yeah, that is again bookmarked.
Oh! That's a big item of follow-up that we need to get into.
Oh, yes.
So, the listeners can't see this, but rather than telling me what he wants to talk about, Tyler is just holding his Nintendo Switch up in front of his face. So I guess you caved in and you finally got one?
Yeah, did you get that thing yet, loser?
Oh, I pre-ordered it forever ago.
So it's finally showed up then?
No, it showed up on Friday. Because here's the thing. All right, so story time, folks. So literally the press conference where they sort of really announced like all the features of this thing, I pre-ordered it off Amazon because fuck it, you know, like it was pretty much everything I wanted in a video game console. Fast forward to Thursday, I get an email at like 8 a.m. and Amazon's like, hey, you need to update your card information because we can't ship your package because your card's out of date. I'm like, okay, great. It was like 8 a.m., so no big deal, right? I'll update my card real quick. And they're like, yeah, your package, although 2-day shipping, it's going to be here on Tuesday. I'm like, that's not the day it's supposed to be here. Was promised Friday. So I just went ahead. I was like, fuck it. You win, Amazon. I'll show out $6 to get business class 1-day shipping so I get this on Friday. Fuck y'all. Like, listen, I get it. I messed up. My card expired. I just don't understand why they couldn't have like alerted me literally the day before so that I wouldn't have gotten pushed back all the way till Tuesday. I just thought, but I got it and I don't care.
Meanwhile, my roommate drove to Best Buy just on a whim to see if they had one out for demo or whatever. And a Best Buy employee looked at him and said, you want to buy a Nintendo Switch? And he was like, I don't know. And she's like, I only got one left. You got to buy it. And so he impulse bought a Nintendo Switch, and I came home from work and it was here.
How much do those dumb things cost?
Like $300.
You paid
dropping $300 on the spot. Like, that's amazing.
You spent $300
plus $6 business rate shipping.
Like, I don't even have,
and it doesn't even come with any games.
If I need a hospital emergency, like, all right.
On an untested, unconnected, remote control attached iPhone 6 Plus. That doesn't connect to anything.
Does it play Snake?
It does not play Snake. You're right.
It does not.
What do you mean doesn't connect to anything?
Does it have LTE or anything?
No, it connects to Wi-Fi.
No.
That's it.
Oh, good. So it's a Kindle Fire that has
That's right.
controls on the end of it.
You
Yeah,
don't
basically.
need that for video games, Sean. You just play the game. Sean seems unimpressed. Look, listen, hold on. You know what that $300 goes into? See this little shit right here?
It better be good.
The kickstand.
A kickstand. Oh, good. When I took off my bike because it cost 50 cents, you bought for $300 on the back of a Kindle Fire. Fantastic. You know what? You're right, Tyler. I am a moron.
Look, now I got 2 controllers.
I'm just kidding. I love you. I totally do want to play one of these things, though.
Look at these controllers. I'm playing a game right now.
So do you have Zelda yet? That's the
I
real
do.
question.
Did it come with it?
No, I had to go out and buy it. I did not pre-order Zelda, which I
How
should
much did that set you back?
Oh, it was $60.
What?
Yeah.
You paid
That's-
$366.
Sean, it's called the price of playing video games. That's what you have to do. That's not outrageous.
I think this, so I'm just going to put this on me. I think I'm just too much of a cheap bastard to play video games.
That's probably
It's an
true.
expensive hobby, but
Yeah.
Clearly.
worth it. I mean, look at World of Warcraft players. I mean, I used to play, and that was like monthly just payments. And then expansions like every, 2 months pretty much. Hyperbolizing, or the opposite.
I mean, do I have any regret, any remorse at all about buying this? Absolutely not.
I'm
Because
glad.
this console is great. It's exactly what I wanted. I haven't bought a console since I bought a DS, and that was about it. I haven't bought like a main series console myself. Everyone else has like always gotten it for like Christmas or whatever. So this is really like technically like a big first like home console purchase. And I'm like, great, because I was gonna buy it. I mean, I love Game Boys, so I can play it on my TV. I can play it on the go. I can set it up, and I can play wherever I want. I specifically used it in every single instance that it was intended for. So like,
Including
basically-
walking your massive dog and then letting it wander through the streets of your city unsupervised?
No, I didn't do that, but I did play it in bed. I did use the kickstand to play with someone in a non-traditional area to play games, and I also sat in front of a big old TV and I played it. So I've used it in every situation, and it has not failed me once. And it's been a really great experience every time.
I feel like anyone who's just listening to the podcast right now just like thought they heard an ad or something. Just like,
Yeah. Well, let me
this.
kind of talk down to Tyler's rose-colored glasses then, because I also have one of these in my home, and I've played with it a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's really great in terms of like the design of it. I love that the controller comes apart to be 2 controllers, so you can do multiplayer gaming really easily. But that 2-part controller costs $80.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lose half of it, it costs $40. And if you want to have more than 2 people playing, you have to pay an additional $80 on top of the $300 that the system costs. And also, they only charge when they're connected to the Switch and the Switch is in the dock. There's no other way to charge the controllers. On the one hand, I love this thing. I think it's really fun, and the couple of games that I've played on it are really cool. But man, does it feel overpriced right now.
see, I still have like my original Game Boy, and that'll set me good for another until the price goes down to $100.
Sean is just shaking his head in disapproval and chugging his beer.
That's right. I mean, to be fair, you don't have to buy more, and you just buy another controller. I mean, when are you gonna play with 4 people? If you're playing with someone else really wants to play it, they probably have one too, and they're probably gonna bring theirs over.
Tyler, I think the difference here is that you never have people over.
That's true.
I have people over here a couple weekends a month, and it would be great to be able to play Mario Kart or something like that with them. But right now, we have this huge TV, and then we're only going to be able to have 2 people playing at once.
We're not going to use these anyway for that. You're not going to use this for Mario Kart anyway. But I mean, you're right that fuck it. What's a PS4 controller? PS4 controller is $40-$50.
Yeah, I feel like that's the range this should be in. But whatever, it's new and it's expensive and technology always gets cheaper over time. It's fine. We've been talking about this for fucking ever.
That's right. It was intended to be follow-up.
So Jacob, you're working on a film.
Yeah, I'm assistant directing one of the grad student films here now. I just finished up my own film. I just finished editing it actually, but finished shooting that like last month.
And so what all did you do on your film?
I kind of built it. I'm applying for my master's right now to go back to school. So I wanted to make a film of my own from pretty much scratch to have as like the forefront of my resume. So I wrote it and I directed it and I did all the producing behind it. So I kind of like pulled all the strings of it, and then I edited it after we shot it. So a big chunk of it.
So to give a little bit of context, you and I have worked together a little bit, and we were at OU for some overlapping time. How long have you been producing shorts and music videos and things on your own? Because I know you were doing it before college.
Yeah, I started off, relatively young. As a kid, I kind of ran around with a camcorder, and everyone on my like cul-de-sac just got together every day and made movies, and I always enjoyed it. And then in high school, I went to a technical high school where I studied multimedia, and then that kind of transferred over into college. So, for the majority of my life, at least, I've kind of been working in film and media kind of stuff. So
part of the reason that we enjoy having you on here is that I feel like we kind of have a similar background in a way, because the three of us were all kind of creatively inclined in high school, and we're doing our own thing, not necessarily working together on stuff. But Sean was in a number of different bands, and Tyler's always been doing illustration stuff on the side and doing graphic design, and I was kind of doing a little bit of short film in high school and more marketing stuff towards college. And it's always so interesting to talk to other people who kind of built their creative resume up from like those formative teenage years. So I'm curious, I guess for everybody, like how do you feel like your work has evolved from, running around with a camcorder in the cul-de-sac to whatever you're doing now?
Needless to say, I'm sure it evolved quite a lot. Just from, the starting point, we knew no theory. We just kind of went with the flow of things, of how we were having fun with it mostly. And then part of it is it got more theorized, where like we planned it out more, and it kind of became more business-like, sadly. Like, that's the sad reality, is it kind of shrinks down to, well, if I'm going to do this, I need to make money off of it. So you kind of have to learn the commercial aspects of your creative, artistry. But it's evolved from that point, and I feel as your like intellect and your creativity grows throughout the years, you kind of get more ambitious with the projects you want to take on. So, when I first started, I was just shooting like horror films and just like doing linear editing on camera, where I'm just like, all right, stand in frame, stop recording, all right, get out of frame, boo, like scary, like just weird stuff. And then slowly over time, you evolve into actually adapting that first craft as a kid. So
tell us about the film that you just did.
The film I just did, it was called Together. It was a narrative short. It was a good way to put it is a rom-com, like a romantic comedy, focuses on a couple getting together, while this was a romantic comedy about a couple breaking up. So it starts with a couple in the midst of a breakup, and then it follows both of them and how they cope with the breakup, and how, even though they're completely two different people, they cope very similarly. And in the end, there's like this reconciliation where they realize, yeah, we weren't good for each other to begin with. So it kind of travels through that whole story of both of these two main characters, and how the one thing I like to pride in is every character I make is just a flawed, shitty character that you learn to hate. So like, you don't walk away like saying, oh, I liked that one character, he was nice. It was just like, man, they all suck. Like, humanity's bleak. But it had comedic elements. So when you first started out and you're like doing film,
and you said you're working on like linear film structure. Have you found yourself moving, now that you know more of the like theory side, have you found yourself moving more towards dialogue and like characters, or is it still kind of the same?
Oh yeah. Just because when you started, it was kind of like improv. Like we'd come up with the general idea saying, okay, let's make this horror film, and then we just say, all right, where do we start? All right, introduce the horror victim, and then you just kind of, you're like, all right, what do we do next? And you just kind of go with the flow of things, and you don't plan it out at all. Mm-hmm. And now, like we sit down, we write scripts, and we actually think, we give these characters personalities, and we give plot lines. It's just like, you don't really realize, at least I didn't when I just had a camcorder, how much goes into making a film. You just go out and you shoot it, and then once you learn the whole process behind it, it's so structured.
Has it been difficult making that transition? Like, have you found yourself like, I mean, clearly it seems like you've gained more interest in it, but does it ever get daunting having to do that now?
Oh, yeah, completely. In high school, me and my buddy, I still work with him a lot, and he goes to OU now. But in high school, we ran a comedy YouTube account where we kind of would just be sitting around on a bored day and just go, let's just shoot a video. And we'd be able to just think of something immediately and just shoot it. And our YouTube channel like actually gained some popularity. We won a contest and actually got some subscribers. So we had a following, and it was really cool. And then once I started going through media education and learning the process of it all, it seemed like we started limiting ourselves more, and it really narrowed it down to, we couldn't just sit there and say, all right, let's think of a video and then just come up with something. Like, right. It was more, we had to build this whole process, and it became daunting.
But do you feel like that now that it like so I don't mean to say like it's like daunting, but it's like, it's like you like when you put your heart into something, you feel like you're actually like growing from it instead of just like doing it for the sake of doing it.
I mean, it definitely, I've gained that more personal element where versus what I used to do, where it was just kind of just making stuff because it was fun to make it. Now it actually is, an expression of myself in a way. Like the film that I just made together, that pulls from like even the dialogue is actual dialogue that I have experienced or said in my own life. So it's just pulling from my own personal, templates of mood, and it has grown into a definitely more personal experience versus just like the making element of it.
What's the most personal line that you've written so far?
Well, I just wrote a scene for a film that I want to make next. It's going to be kind of like a slice in the life of a couple, a very poor couple, but they don't really care that they're poor at all. They're just kind of, the fact that they have each other is like a big deal to them more than any money is. And it's going to be like a really nice slice of life of kind of making it political with current events. Obviously, you kind of have to do that. But the very opening scene is like someone pounding on their door at like 6 a.m. And the guy goes up and answers the door. The girl goes in and starts drinking milk out of the carton. And there's 2 SWAT officers at the door. And they're basically saying, yeah, there's a hostage situation in your apartment complex. You got to evacuate the building. And then the girlfriend from the other room's like, oh, what is it? And then the guy just nonchalantly was like, there's a hostage situation. We got to leave. And then she's like, oh, bummer. I gotta get dressed. Like that, it was an actual life event that I went through, and it was as nonchalant as that played out. And I as soon as it happened, I was like, I want to show that in film one day because that is hilarious to me.
Do you ever? I don't know. Does it when you make film and you're like searching for these experiences to write? Has that changed your relationship now that you know so much about film? Like, has it made any of it? The films that you really liked when you were a kid seem like banal now and just have less meaning than they did before?
I wouldn't say that, but part of that is also because I was always more interested in films versus like blockbuster films. Mm-hmm. Like, because there's definitely that clear difference. So, I never got into like superhero movies, for instance, just because I didn't really connect. I grew up very depressed watching Charlie Kaufman films. So it always has that personal element to me. And I don't think that's like ever going to go away because the ones that I watch are kind of like the ones that have that inclined personal, drive that I don't think I could see it differently than what it is.
So I'm interested by what you were talking about with taking these moments from your actual life and then writing them into a scene. How do you like archive those thoughts and come back to them? Like, do you feel like, do you write them all down? once they happen, do you feel like you need to get some emotional distance from them, or is it like you had a shitty day and so you're going to write that whole shitty day into a script like that night type of situation?
Part of it has been like a subconscious thing, just because I also, like, I mean, as you know from the last time I was on the show, is I make music and I like write a lot of, short stories, flash fiction, stuff like that. So kind of in the back of my mind, when I notice something or I see something and I think, that would make a good motif or a good line of dialogue, I either, note it down in my phone or write it down on a slab of paper, and I just kind of archive it physically. But then scenes like that, for instance, I just kind of kept with me, because every so often I'll remember it and be like, yeah, I gotta do that sometimes. So it's kind of like a regurgitated thought that builds up until I finally have the momentum to do it.
That we talked a little while ago about Weezer. Rivers Cuomo did an episode of Song Exploder. I don't know if you're familiar with that podcast, but basically the host takes a musician and interviews them about one song, and they kind of deconstruct the song and talk about the process of how it's made. And your process sounds very similar to the way Rivers writes, where he explains like he just has a database on his computer of like rhythms he likes, lyrics he likes, and melodies he likes. And he kind of goes into it, later on when it's time to write a song, and puts it together like puzzle pieces almost. Like, I wrote this sentence down 6 years ago and it fits this rhythm, so I'm going to use it in this song, like that type of thing.
I feel like, that's a completely artist thing to do. I'm sure you guys have experienced your own, like situations where you've pulled from, past ideas. In the film I just made, you have actual life events that I've been through. But then you also have, for instance, like there's a huge visual motif I included that I actually stole from a short story I wrote like 3 years ago. I was like, oh, that visual motif would really fit well here. And then, so it is literally like a puzzle. I still have shots in my head where I don't have a structure of what I want those shots to be in a film, but I know at some point this would be a cool shot to have. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it is like puzzle pieces, and eventually like enough pieces start making an image, and then that's where you really get the motivation to make it a full picture.
I sure do love movies, but boy, do I not have like the sort of like the perspective to like really have like an intelligent conversation about it, like in like a meaningful way. I feel like so I've just been kind of like listening to it. Because although I do draw funny pictures of people very badly, that has nothing to do with setting up a shot, getting people in places, really kind of like having dialogue like created. So obviously I have immense respect for what you do. So how can we bridge some sort of gap? Like, I don't know.
I wouldn't argue that like like what you do versus what I do is any less artistic. It's just, because relatively, as like, do you draw? Is that what you, or do you just?
I'm classically trained as a graphic designer, so like lots of type, image, just very.
Yeah.
But really, I guess we can relate in a way that I do try to have comedy, at least in my personal work, which is more illustration based, where I try to my current series right now is I just find something in popular culture and I just fucking draw its face the worst way possible. So it's like barely recognizable. So that's like been like my thing. So I feel like we can relate in at least that way, at least a little bit.
We're both storytellers. We just use a different medium to show the story. But that's like the amazing thing about art. That's why so many artists like dabble in every type of art form, is because it's just literally different ways of telling the same story. Like you could, graphic design your own little series of like the film I just made, and it would have the same effect if it's done correctly. It's just whatever medium you are most inclined to.
Right, because I feel like a lot of people are actually really getting into like After Effects and all that stuff, where it's lots of motion, animation, but it's just in a completely different sort of field. And I think it's really interesting that you say that people really dabble in stuff. So, for example, I'm going to bring up the McElroys again. Whoops. So, Griffin McElroy has a D&D podcast where he's a podcaster, he makes the music for it, and he also writes the story for it, and which also could count as somewhat as acting, although, you know, it's debatable in some situations. But so it's like, yeah, like I understand that, you know, kind of once you kind of get going with experimenting in that sort of direction, it just somehow ends up going off the rails really quick into like, well, I guess I composed an album. I composed a score for a D&D podcast, I guess. So
yeah, with that, do you ever feel like you have like snowballed your way into these projects?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely. It happens quite oftenly, and I mean, I'm snowballing right now just because a lot of people are asking me to just like lend a hand on their film sets, and I of course want to because I love having that experience, but then they just all start overlapping, and then it takes time away from the personal projects I'm building. And I'm building like 2 films right now, but I'm also like trying to make an album, and I'm just like, they're overlapping in the bad ways because I'm like mixing up my content because I'm just like too scatterbrained about everything I'm doing. And I don't know, they all just kind of snowball without me controlling them because I'm trying to do too much.
But to be fair, I think being busier is better than not being busy at all. That people actually like want your help, and they're like, hey, I think I need you, which I think I really admire about like sort of like the film industry, where it's like you go to college for like, oh, I just love film, I want to study it, and they're like, hey, how about you like hold up this light and make sure it doesn't fall down, or how about you just pick up and pack up all this wiring for me, please? You're like, no one actually gets to do the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like one guy,
it's all to get money to make your own big thing.
Right?
You gotta do that bad work. But then there's the whole thing where like they know you's a boom operator, so you're stuck doing that for the rest of your life because that's the only thing you're gonna get hired for now. It's like a really flawed industry standard of hiring.
Right. But to be fair, you need for a lot of stuff you need no experience. You need enough experience to know how to do it. It pays pretty well. And if you just learn how to do more stuff, people will just hire you to do more things. Because I have a friend that did this exact same thing. He works at a grip company, and he's like, well, I guess I learned how to drive a commercial truck. He's like, so I could get more work. And now he can get a job basically at any time that he wants because he just has acquired so many various skills that he's just like, well, I'm always busy.
Funnily enough, the whole driving thing is the key way to get hired, it seems. I have a lot of friends in New York, and the only reason they got jobs within like the industry is because they said like, oh yeah, we'll drive your truck through the streets of New York, and they're like, all right, you're hired.
I want to kind of speak to this idea of like, you learn how to do one thing, but then in order to be marketable or in order to actually create, or just because you get inspired, you end up doing all of these other things, you know. Mm-hmm. You start out as just, I want to make a film, and the next thing you know, you're scoring the film and you're doing all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I feel like in a similar way, this podcast has kind of worked that way, where it started out as like, I wanted to make a podcast, and so I went to these guys and I said, hey, let's make a podcast. And then Tyler started doing the designs for the podcast, and then we decided we needed theme music, so Sean composed all the theme music. And now Sean and I split the editing load, and Tyler's doing graphics every week, and there's articles, and there's all this other stuff. And it's kind of like creativity in a way just begets creativity. But but it's like you get so much of it that I feel like you do need that process, because otherwise you're right. You end up like pulling ideas from everywhere and not really getting anything done.
See, and that's the strange paradox about like art in general, I feel, is you start doing that where you want like, oh, well, if we want all this control, you learn how to do it yourself, and that's like really cool and it looks good and people appreciate that. But then you're also not like putting your highest effort into one thing, and you're not like outsourcing for the other things. Like I always think, Charlie Chaplin is one of my favorite directors of all time, and I read his autobiography, and it's like, this guy started off not being able to read or write at all. Like he didn't know how. He just, started doing acting, and then acting turned into directing, and then he taught himself how to compose, so he refused anyone else to compose his own film, so he composed them all, and then he learned how to write, so he wrote his autobiography. And it's just like at one point the genius just becomes a narcissistic control of wanting to do everything yourself and not give anyone else, like the opportunity to. And I feel like that's kind of what snowballed itself into like the present day of having to be a jack of all trades and not having the opportunity to really like step up unless you do everything yourself.
What's the worst cliche in film? What's your most hated cliche?
This one's more of a personal one because I've seen it on many film sets. I worked on a feature last year and I heard it a lot on there. It was a great set, and hopefully the movie's really good, so I don't want to like badmouth it at all. But the phrase, it's like Wes Anderson gets thrown around a lot, like where you try to like use another director as an excuse for like what you're doing to like let other people understand what you're doing, like. Like, oh, that dialogue is so Quentin Tarantino. Like, you have to, like, mimic something else for other people to apparently understand it nowadays. And it happens all the time where it's just like, oh, yeah, that shot's very Wes Anderson. And, I don't know, it strips, like, the core of it, too. Just, like, mimicking other artists. And
What's the best cliche in film right now?
Right now?
What's your favorite? You don't have to say right now. No, objectively, you'll just throw that word out the window. Let's like subjectively, what's your favorite cliche?
I'm loving overall the cliche of kind of like past realism. Like it's gotten to. I mean, I'm gonna say nowadays, but it seems like film is trying to look at the future versus what we're in the present. And that's kind of like how it built up, was just like, oh yeah, we're shooting like either in the past, like, oh, this old Western, or you're shooting what's happening today. And there was only like a couple gold films that came out where it was just like, yeah, this stuff, like this is waiting down the road. And like, it didn't get appreciated as much until you got, it's like George Orwell's 1984. Like reading it now versus reading it in 1960 is a completely different effect. And now we have shows like Black Mirror and other shows that are showing like, hey, like this is the future. Do you want this? Because and so it's more and more becoming like a huge timeline to work off of versus just like the present and the past.
Is it difficult watching your films with other people and listening to their interpretations?
Kinda. I want them to be like open for interpretation, so I listen gleefully. And
but do you?
I do, because I don't expect everything that I think of, like, in each shot where I'm just like, oh, I love, like, the significance. Like, I know no one's going to catch that all down, especially as an editor. I've had to watch it, 100 times gradually as it grows, and it just, like, by the end, I hate it.
Right.
So if someone else told me, like, oh, I like what you did here and it's not what I meant, or if someone said, I don't like how you did this, I honestly don't care by the end, because I'm like, I made it. So I like it or I don't like it. I like how I did this, and I'm using all this information for the next project. So it's less like they can interpret however they want. If they like it, that's good. If it's not what I intended and they like it, that's good too.
All right, so it's time for Internet Garbage, and this week, like most weeks, we're talking about a new spicy meme. This meme, I guess we're calling it the zoom in meme. Is that the technical term here?
Pretty much, yeah.
I have seen like one of these before we started talking about it tonight, so somebody else should probably explain what's going on here.
Well, I don't know where it originated, but I've seen, plenty over the last couple of days, especially on Twitter. But it's basically you post a photo and it says, the caption for it is zoom in, in the center, or zoom in on something specifically to the image. And then once you zoom in on that area, it'll relocate you to a different area, which will relocate you to a different area. And then, I don't know, people have gotten kind of creative with it, saying like, oh, look in my Abby, like my pic. And then, so it continues on to different photos. And it's like, I don't know, it seems a little obnoxious, but that's the idea of it, is zooming in and following a treasure hunt or directions.
Tyler, Sean, any familiarity with this meme?
I do. I distinctly remember, it's, at least from my origin point, is that there was like a Shibu, and then there was like something like really zoomed in on its nose. and there was like a bunch of those, and it was always just some dumb stupid shit that I didn't care about, which I think is the point. But I think the idea is that you do the thing and then you feel really dumb.
I also saw it come out of the send nudes meme, like where they were trying to trick people into seeing the words send nudes, like it was a big other meme thing. So it kind of, I saw it used like for the first time in that format of like tricking you into seeing that.
Which, to be fair, is a good use, I think, of that meme.
I think
it's a good fusion. If we're gonna Dragon Ball Z fuse these two memes together, that's a pretty good result. Where are even some examples of this? Because we know there's like the Denny's one, which is, I think, fucking garbage. But you know, I think when it gets to that point,
right? I guess that's what confuses me is I didn't see this meme all that much until like Thursday or Friday of this week. And then all of a sudden, Denny's already knows about it, and longtime listeners of the show will know that a meme is nearing its death knell when it's been on the Denny's account, and then it goes on Ellen. And so we're not quite at like Ellen status yet, but this is getting pretty normie up in here.
So it's it hits Sonic the Hedgehog, and then it peaks, and then it hits Denny's. I think is the
If you Google zoom in meme, like all the links are to it, and it seems like late February is where it got put on Know Your Meme. So
literally last week.
Yeah. So it's still relatively new.
Yeah, and everyone's like, and it's all the like the taglines are like zoom into this dog's nose. And then the worst part is when you can't fucking see what is on this dog's nose. It's clearly written, but you know, I just can't see it.
Yeah, it's at too low of a resolution and you can't read what the hell it's supposed to say.
So God, I can't wait for Anthony Fantana to fucking roast this one, because it's gonna be like, it's just gonna be one of those memes that people that like just do not get used right.
You know, we talk a lot about memes on this show, and usually we find something funny to say about the memes. I honestly just don't find this meme that amusing.
Like I said, the only one that's made me laugh is the Denny's one, and that's for other reasons.
Sean looks thoroughly nonplussed by this. Sean, how do you feel?
This is a dumb meme.
To be fair, we do have the rule of no bummers, but we could absolutely slay a stupid fucking meme. Like, that's fine.
This is just dumb. This isn't even that interesting. It's like, zoom in. Like, listen, I'm a lazy meme consumer. If I don't get it like immediately, I don't want to zoom into no stupid meme. Like,
Sean
zoom
wants
into
his memes
meme
as surface level as humanly possible. Like, somebody falls over and Sean's like, yeah, that's my sweet spot right there. No,
I feel like it feeds into people's curiosity. Like, once you see, like, zoom in on here, you're like, okay, I have to know what is going on here.
After the first couple, though, I feel like I don't have to know. Because most of the time, when you finally figure out what the message is, it's usually just another meme. Like, I'm fully expecting one of these is going to come up in my feed this week. And when I do, you know, zoom into the center, zoom into the left, zoom to the right, blah, blah, blah. And then when you finally get to the end, it'll just say, cash me outside, how about that?
I've seen that one, actually. There is actually one like that.
Right? Like, fuck that shit. That is a waste of my time with a stale meme to reference a stale meme.
It's probably the meme that other memes go to die.
Ooh, that's interesting. It's like, how do you know when there's a zoom in about it?
I think that's a good telling point.
I mean, somebody's gotta do, like, there's gotta be a Harambe zoom in, right?
I have not seen one yet, weirdly enough.
I mean, I could see this zoom in meme being like funny once it dies and then it's used to like troll somebody. Then it will be good again. Like, someone finds like a toe inside of their Denny's pancakes and it's like, zoom in, and then in a little syrup it's like, it's a toe. Like, it's just like that will be how this thing comes back, and it will be better, and it's like after its death than it will during its life.
Yeah, or it says like zoom in, but the thing is like giant and obviously right there.
That's what I mean. It'll have to be like stupid.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think this one's gonna be a better zombie meme than an actual meme. I don't know, guys. I don't expect it to go anywhere.
I mean, we never know. It could be like a Van Gogh kind of thing. The meme dies, and then
eventually there's going to be actual paintings where the painting title zoom stand closer to the lower right corner.
You're gonna go to the MoMA and they're just gonna have like magnifying glasses on strings that you have to hold up.
Now that's fucking good though, because then you could read it.
The future, that is the future. That's happening.
I hate myself for even thinking about this meme. Alright, it's time to finish out the show with a round of shameless plugs. We'll start with Tyler Reed. Tyler, where can the people find you and your work?
Hey everybody, you can find my design and illustration work at tylerdreed.com. Then you can also find me on socials as TR Design on Instagram and Twitter. Yeah, that's really about it. You know where to find me.
Sean Evans, where can the people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at sevans8910, 78910. And as a reminder, we're now in Punk Lent, and this is an extra special long Punk Lent, I think. Like Easter kind of comes late this year. So everybody make sure that you go out and drink your local beers and patronize your local establishments and go see local rock groups and bands and spend your money, what little of it you probably have because you participate in Punk Lent, on like DIY things. Yeah.
I second in indulging in local culture, music.
That's the best part about Punk Lent is that you don't have to give anything up. You just have to do everything local and do more of it.
Yeah.
Right, make a zine.
Yeah, maybe your Punk Lent should be making yourself a zine. Why not? If you were inspired by our conversation tonight, you can make a zine. Jacob, if people want copies of your zine or any of the other stuff you do, where can they find you?
Well, simple enough. I have my own website. It's just jacobmidkiff.com. It's kind of a curation of most of my works. And it's getting updated here soon. I'm working with a web designer. Outside of that, I got Vimeo and YouTube. You can just look up Jacob Midkiff and you'll find me. If you're interested in my music, which I mentioned a couple times, you can look up the link pathoshiphop.bandcamp.com, and that has a nice collection of free downloadable music that I have made. And those are the links for my face.
And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter if you want. I'm at TC Olmstead, and you can follow the show at Dudes Brunch or like us on Facebook. And if you really like us, you can leave an iTunes review. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you next week for more Brunch. So our main topic this week is going to be a discussion.
You're not going to start a topic out like that.
Sean fucking fades into the background and the lights turn off and just a single spotlight is on Sean in a corner. Man, I wish I was good at basketball.
Having like a PTSD flashback from high school basketball gym class. We're playing sideline basketball, kids. And basketballs are raining from the sky. Sean's running for cover underneath like a bunch of netting.
Dude, your gym class sounds like some kind of weird Pink Floyd music video.
It pretty much was.
Mine was mostly just finding excuses not to play badminton.
You guys play badminton?
Fuck yeah, we play badminton. My gym teachers didn't give a fuck.
God.
Dude, I didn't even have to go to gym class. This is crazy.
What? You didn't go to gym?
Our marching band counted as an athletic credit, so we didn't have to do things. We didn't have to do gym.
Yeah, that didn't happen until after I had already taken gym, unfortunately.
I like gym. You always got to play alternate frisbee, and I just dominated that game because I'm a white male and I was destined for college.